Alright, Shalom. I'm the brother Tasiyat, coming back with another video. But before I start off, I would like to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mokakadash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akiyam across the world, who are spreading this knowledge and truth and sincerity. And may the election be upon your households. Khan Shalom. So, it's a little bit late, but I want to make a video concerning the New Year, so-called New Year celebration, New Year's Eve, because actually the celebration of the New Year is paganism. Okay, the New Year is not from December to January, because if you think about it, it's in the midwinter when basically things around us are looking dead. Okay, trees are looking dead, animals are in a winter sleep. So this is not the actual New Year, man. The actual New Year is around March, okay, when spring comes forth, okay? Because the word spring, basically, when you look up spring, you have actually new life springing forth, okay? So animals coming out of their winter sleep, trees getting leaves, grass being green and tall again, flowers growing, birds pairing, and moving from place to place again. So this would be closer to the new beginning of a new year, don't you think? But no, these Edomites, they put it in the midwinter. Okay, so where does it come from? It actually derives from a Roman god named Janus, okay? Which, when you see him, he has two faces. Now, one face is basically looking to the past and one looking to the future, okay? So, let me show you. Janus mythology. This is from Wikipedia, and I also have another website which I will go into in a short bit. It says here, in ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. He is usually depicted as having two faces. The month of January is named for Janus, Januarius. So the month January is named after this so-called god. Okay, which all these months actually have Greek/Roman mythology, if I'm correct, and they have a certain meaning behind it. Okay, because like I explained, man, the months are actually the New Year Salakia is not actually in December, man. It's actually around March. Okay, the word December. Let's look it up. Okay, it says here, December, the 12th month of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, usually considered the first month of winter. The December is actually month 10, so to speak. Okay, when you break down December, when you go to Dec, decibel, meaning, let me see. You know what? Let's start with September. Okay, September meaning, because September means 7. Okay, it says here the 9th month of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, usually considered the first month of autumn. But when you look it up, September is 7. It comes from the word septum, which means 7. Okay, let me go to the etymology. Let me see. September, 9th month of the Roman year, late Old English September, from Old French September, and directly from Latin September. Also source of Old French September, Spanish septiembre, so forth. Here it comes from septem, 7. Okay, see 7. So septem, basically meaning 7. Okay, so that is September. Then you have September, you have October, which October should remind you of an octopus. And how many legs has an octopus have? 8. You see it here. 8. So October, late Old English from Latin October, from octo, 8. From pi root octo, 8. Okay, so that is month 8, actually, and not month 10. Then you have November, which comes from nova, which means 9. November. It says here November, circa 1200, from Old French Novembre, and directly from Latin November. It says here, from Novem, 9. Okay, see 9. Okay. 9, the cardinal number, 1 more than 8 or 1 less than 10. So it's month 9, not month 11. Now we go to December. Okay. Well, with December, they tripping. They don't really show you that. But December, basically from decibel, is 10. Then you have January, would automatically be 11. March would be 12. Salakia. January would be 11. February would be 12. And then March would actually be month 1. Okay. So that is the new beginning of the actual, that is actually the new beginning of the new year, so to speak, okay? And around March is when we celebrate the Passover, I believe on the 14th day, so day 14 of the first month, we celebrate the Passover, the Pasach. Okay, that is basically a short explanation that we celebrate the death of the firstborns of Egypt, of the Egyptians who had us in captivity for 400 years. Okay, and that we have been delivered out of that slavery by the Most High. That is what we remember, that is what we celebrate on that day. So here again, January, it says here, from Latin Januarius, like we just read earlier, menses, the month of Janus. Okay, so we know that Janus is the Roman deity. Okay, it says here Janus, ancient Italic deity. To the Romans, the guardian god of portals, doors, and gates. Patron of beginnings and endings. Okay, so the ending of so-called 2023 and the beginning of so-called 2024 being celebrated. Okay, so let's grab a scripture, and then I'm gonna read a small part of Janus. And then I'm going to close it off, Lord willing. So it says here, Daniel chapter 7, straight to the point, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Basically, the Edomites, the Esau, the so-called white man, okay, mainly the land America, because they are really boldly with their things against the Most High. They are really the opposite of the Most High. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Now, wearing out, basically, making them completely tired, okay? And the saints are the Israelites. So they are basically making the Israelites completely tired of their bullshit, of their oppression. And think, here comes the point, and think to change times and laws. So they are actually changing the times, from actually around spring, okay, Lente, we call it in the Dutch, when new lives actually spring forth. They put the new year around January, December, from their Roman god Janus, which shows you also that they are basically performing the Roman ways, because America, this whole society, which is basically following the ways of America, so to speak, is the ancient Roman Empire all over again, man. This whole chapter is good for that, and Revelations chapter 13. Which is a very deep chapter, but it's also good for that, to show you that this is talking about the ancient Roman Empire. So, you know what? Let's read a few verses here. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. So he had a certain beast that had 7 heads. You know what? Let me set it verse 1. Then you can see it for yourself. Then I'm going to read... until verse 3. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, which are the people, the nations, okay, sea, water, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Basically, this is speaking of the European Union and the NATO and Babylon the Great, which is America. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, okay, which that leopard represents the Greeks, Alexander the Greek, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, which this represents the Russians, okay, because when you have a body, you have the top of the head and you have the feet. So the feet is, so to speak, the end of a thing. So the Russians will be the end of this society, okay. They are like the opposites of what these Edomites in America want, okay. And of course, they are both Edomites, but basically Russia is the bear, the end of this society, because they will, in World War III, they will completely blast America along with the European nations. And this mouth is the mouth of a lion. This is talking about the Britain, Great Britain. And the dragon gave him his power. That is the ancient Roman Empire. Okay. And his seat and great authority. So Babylon the Great, basically America, gets their power, gets their ways, their philosophies from the ancient Roman Empire. You see it when you go to school. You need to learn Roman numerals. When you try to study medicine, you learn it in Latin. Okay. When you study plants, the plants are named in Latin. When you have so-called animals, certain names of the animals are in Latin. Okay. And also with the planets, they are actually in Greek, but the Greek are also Edomites. Linked with Edomites. Now, the original Greeks were actually not Edomites. They were Japhetic. So like if I'm correct, the Indonesian people and stuff like that. But they was being pushed out of that area in Europe. And then the Greeks, the Edomites, took over the customs and pushed the Japhetic people away. And now, so to speak, they become the Greeks. Okay. So that shows you these Edomites are just full of shit, man. Anyway, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads. So the dragon had 7 heads. Okay, those 7 heads are the Greece, Romans, Germania Minor, Germania Major, French, British, and Spanish. Now, when it says here, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, those are the Romans, okay? The Roman Empire, because they basically fell around 360 or 70 AD, if I'm correct. And they came back into power in the Renaissance around 1400s. That is when the Edomites came back into power, basically. And this deadly wound was healed, so that healing process started in the Renaissance, like I explained. Renaissance means rebirth. So around the 14th century, they came back into power. And all the world wondered after the beast. So basically, and they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Okay, so basically these Edomites that are now back in rulership have the old ways of Roman back. And one of that old way of Roman is the celebration of the so-called New Year Eve around January, December, from the god, so to speak, Janus. Okay, so here on Britannica.com, you see Janus, the Roman god. And it says here, Janus, in Roman religion, the animistic spirit of doorways and archways. Janus and the nymph Camasine were the parents of Tiberinus, whose death in or by the river Albula caused it to be renamed Tiber. Now, when we jump down a bit, I want to grab these two alineas. It says here, some scholars regard Janus as the god of all beginnings and believe that his association with doorways is the derivative. So he is the god of the beginning, so to speak, which is idolatry. He was invoked as the first of any gods in regular liturgies, the beginning of the day, month, and year, both calendrical and agricultural, was sacred to him. The month of January is named for him, you see, and his festival took place on January the 9th, the Agonium. There were several important temples erected to Janus, and it is assumed that there were also an early cult on the Janiculum, which the ancients took to mean the city of Janus. Last part, Janus was represented by a double-faced head, like we saw earlier, you know. He has two heads, basically. One for the future, one for the past, so to speak. Symbolically for a doorway to new beginnings, new and endings, so to speak, for them. And he was represented in art either with or without beard. Occasionally he was depicted as four-faced, as the spirit of the four-way arch. Now, I think this is enough info on the Janus, but so to speak, we don't celebrate this New Year Eve. It's basically idolatry. But, you know, when people, you know, basically wish you Happy New Year and things like that, you just have to be wise and be like, yeah, Happy New Year to you too, blah, blah, blah. But you know in the back of your head that is fake as hell. Okay? So, with that, I want to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kakodash. I hope that your brothers and sisters have been edified. And I want to give a double honor to my other apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akiyam across the world who are spreading this knowledge and truth and sincerity. And may the election be upon your households. God Shalom.